Anthony Rocco Martin joins me once again, this time as he prepares to face David Zawada on April the 25th on ESPN+. Rocco, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
Good, good. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Nice to see you again. Before we dive into all this MMA talk, I do have to talk about the thing the whole world is talking about right now. And of course, I'm talking about where Tom Brady is going to resign here for this upcoming football season. No, obviously, I do want to touch upon football, but obviously, I'm joking. The whole coronavirus is what the whole world is freaking out about. What is your take on it, and how are you planning to proceed here moving forward?
See, like I'm like that opposite of conspiracy theorists, and I don't know, maybe I'm just like one of those meathead fighters or something, because I'm like the strongest survive, like, so it's like, but you start saying that stuff nowadays, people are gonna be shitting all over you, thinking that you're like this inhumane animal. I'm just at that point where I'm just like, let's just all infect ourselves and let's see who survives. I'm just like, I'm tired of this corona shit. I don't know. I get it. It's obviously seems like something that's more attacking old people, and the old people are dying. Mm-hmm. But how it's making everyone shut down everything, and everyone's so scared. Like you said, you can't even go to the stores anymore without everything being gone, taken off the shelves. People going there hoarding everything. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to fight still, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, I got to imagine it's got to be very difficult for you. Obviously, you're at the top of the game here, fighting in the UFC. You got a huge fight coming up here in a little over a month now. How is this affecting your training? I mean, are there some guys that are maybe a little bit nervous about wanting to go in there because they're worried about catching this? Or, I mean, even some gyms are just closing down completely.
Yeah, a lot of gyms are closing down, man. So I'm just hoping that we could keep a small group together and just grinding, which kind of our style out here in Atlanta, Georgia has been with the Lima brothers. We got Will Brooks and Jakal, headed out by Jakal. And so we're trying to keep a good small crew together, stay healthy, obviously, and make sure our families are healthy. But we have some big fights coming up, and the one thing I worry about is that, I think for the next 30 days, they shut down flights to Europe. My opponent's from Germany. So he's hopefully he's going to be able to get over here. Because obviously a opponent change is different as well, I mean, because a lot of guys are training for fights as well, so you might get someone that's in shape, but you don't know anything about them. But honestly, I'm not too worried about it. I think I'm one of the best fighters in the world, and I don't really care who's in there as long as I fight. I need to fight though.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, hopefully that does happen. I know Dana White has said a lot of these events are getting moved to the Apex Center in Vegas. Is that something that you're anticipating? Because your fight was originally supposed to be in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Nebraska, I haven't heard much, but I'm also thinking that in about 5-6 weeks here, that everything could be back to normal. I could see everything being normal and nothing being of immediate change. So I don't think that. I mean, I heard that Vegas just shut down the Apex, so the Apex won't be able to have shows there. So they're trying to find other locations to have it. I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. I mean, I think that if this stuff's still going on in 6 weeks, it's going to be kind of crazy,
Oh, for sure.
It would be one of the craziest things, obviously, in our lifetime. Mm-hmm. And we've had 9/11 and stuff. So I think that if this is still going on crazy like it is now in 6 weeks, that it's something. But I don't know. I've heard rumors. You get both sides. You got doctors saying that this is just like something that's a little bit more powerful than the flu or very similar. It's just something. And then you got other doctors saying that this is the next, coming of the world. So it's kind of like this thing where you don't know really what's going on. Mm-hmm. But I know that a lot of these government buildings are headed more by, I would say, more leaning towards the Democratic Party that runs a little safer. So I think that, I don't know. I'm very highly Republican, so it's kind of like I'm also like I don't really give a shit. I'm ready to let's just infect everyone. Let the strong survive and let's move forward. But I mean, I get that you want to preserve life and stuff like that,
Yeah, no doubt. Tell me, how is this going to affect what you do on a day-to-day basis as far as going to the grocery store, or if you wanted to stop and, I'm not sure, like if you stop at Subway to get like a wrap or a salad or whatever it may be, are you trying to just go to the store, stock up, get everything you need so you don't have to be around those people, or are you just not caring?
No, I'm not one of the bastards that everyone's probably yelling about, like saying that they don't give a shit about no one and that I'm out of here. I live in an RV. So all I'm doing is, if I'm going somewhere, it's just to get shit that I need, and then I'm coming back home. But no, I'm still on flights and shit. I don't care. I'm telling you right now, like, I'm not around family much. I'm stuck in this RV, so I'm just sitting here. So it's not like I don't know. I could be affecting other people, but obviously if I got sick, I'll try to. What do I do? I just listen. Everyone gets the apocalypse. I'm in my RV, man. I'm out of here. I mean, you guys are all stuck in your guys' houses. See, I'm on the move.
Is there anybody in there with you? Is it just you inside the RV?
It's just me. I'm here by myself. Like, what do you guys? You know what I mean? You guys are all stuck at home. Like, you guys dead. Like, I'm on the move, man. So I'm on the move.
Oh, that's hysterical. That really, I mean, you're right too, because you don't have to be stuck in one place. You're in the best situation of all. You're a young, active, healthy fighter who can get through any illness, and you can just bounce if something comes about.
Yeah, I'm out of here. That's what I said. You guys can all be freaking out, but I'm out of here. But it seems like it's everywhere right now, so there's not really anywhere to go. But I'll just go up in the mountains or something.
Yeah.
I'll be out there by myself. I'll figure out something.
That's hysterical. Well, I definitely had to ask you about it. Hopefully, everyone at your team stays healthy, stays safe, does not get the coronavirus, and all of the fights do come to fruition here. Well, when the time comes. Before we dive into MMA, I know you're a football guy just like me. I'm on pins and needles, bro. Like, I'm a Pats fan.
You're freaking out.
Yeah, you're a Bears fan, right?
Yeah. Don't start talking shit right
No.
now.
I'm not trying to do that with you. But what do you think is going to happen with Tom Brady?
Brady's staying in the Patriots. Come on, man. I mean, I get that Brady's passed up money all the time. He's got Giselle. He's got all the money. He's got all, like, the endorsement deals. I don't understand, like, what this whole thing of, he, like, now everyone's acting like he cares about all his money or something. I don't know. I don't understand. Like, he doesn't care. I mean, if he cared about all the money the whole time, he wouldn't have been in the Patriots that long.
Right.
Right. It's just the facts. Like, he's considered the top quarterback of all time, but he hasn't been paid the number one money all the time. So it's like he's up for a big. I mean, if they want to pay him, they can pay him. Obviously, they want to pay him, but they also want the best team. So it's like that pro. You have to weigh it out. Like, do you take all this money, and then? But I don't think Tom Brady has any interest. He ain't going to Tampa Bay. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You're talking about him going to. You think he really wants to go to Tampa?
I totally agree. He's not going there. The one team that does scare me as a diehard Pats fan is the Chargers, because it is LA. Giselle, I'm sure, would like to be out in California, and they have weapons on offense. They have a legit running back, great tight end, great wide receivers. They got a good defense. I mean, he would make them a Super Bowl contender for sure. So that does scare me.
But every year they say that they're a top three defense, and I feel like that defense is always a little lackluster compared to, like, what they before the season. I feel like they're always not supposed to be like top three, right? And then it's like, I mean, they're all right, but they're not great. But no, like you said, he would make them a contender right away if you have the right system around them, because they got the players. They do have the players, but I don't see what I don't know, man. I don't know, unless he just doesn't like Boston. Maybe he don't like Boston.
Well,
if Giselle wanted to be gone that bad, they would have been gone.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, he doesn't live right in the thick of things in Boston. I think he sold his place in Connecticut. Now he's somewhere in New York. I'm not sure where, but anyways, I just hope he stays. I mean, you being a football fan, you can relate to me. What do you think your Bears are going to be like here in this upcoming season?
It's like you got to figure out. Trubisky is just like, some passes you're like, geez, this guy could throw a ball. Then it's like other passes, you have no idea who he's throwing to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think if you rein him in, you obviously have a defense there that they're not going to be the top defense, but they're top 10, So you got a defense there. You just need to get someone that can rein in Trubisky and just guide him in the right direction of, you don't have to do a lot, you don't have to do a lot on that team. But that's what I always say with great defenses. This is what I said before. You could be 13-3, right? Or you could be 7-9. You know what I mean? That's like the type of that's what happens with good defense, because every damn game is so close.
Oh yeah.
So you never know with this team, you know.
Now, I do got to transition here and talk a little bit of MMA. Tony, what a win over Ramazan in Russia. I mean, holy cow. To me, I feel like it was kind of like a coming out party for you in a lot of ways. I mean, not many people are Conor McGregor, right? But you're like on that track now where you're really moving up that welterweight ranking. And I really felt like you kind of a star was born in a sense, for a number of reasons. First and foremost, I just want to say, how is your mom? Is she okay?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for reaching out too, by the way. I never got back to you on that, but she has bone cancer inside the bones now. I mean, not bone cancer, but it's breast cancer inside the bones, so it's stage 4. So there's no cure, So it's just like you're trying to keep it spreading as slow as possible and just trying to preserve life as long as possible. So there is no cure. So she won't be healed, obviously, unless some miracle thing comes up where you never know, if somehow someone finds something to heal. But as of now, they say 3 to 5 years. So but she's also, a smoker but hopefully she's staying healthy. But overall, she's in good spirits. She's fighting. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. Well, sorry to hear about all of that. I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you before, but I actually lost my father to bone cancer at the end of 2018. His was stage 4 when it was diagnosed, and it was in 90% of his bones. The chemo didn't really work that well, but there was this pill. It was an alternative method of treatment, and he went from being 90% full of cancer in his bones to below 5%. So so 6 months or so, he had great quality of life. It was like he was back to normal. And then when the cancer came back, it was just extremely aggressive. So, I just mentioned that to you, now because I don't know if that alternative method would be beneficial for what your mom has, but I'll ask again and see what it is, and I'll let you know. Maybe, who knows if it's something that could be beneficial. But I mean, so many people are affected by cancer nowadays, man, and it's brutal. And your post-fight speech was amazing. I mean, you had me out here crying, and it was very real. It was very raw. And I just felt like a lot of people could really relate to you, and I felt like you gained a lot more fans that night. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously I didn't think I was going to be emotional like that. I mean, it was just one of those things that, I didn't really talk about it too much before the fight or leading up to the fight, and it's been going on, but it obviously just all rolled out right after the fight. But no, I mean, I think that, I'm on my way up. I think that I'm ready. I'm ready for the surge that I think that I deserve. I think that I've earned. I think that after this fight, it's time for a major step up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do want to touch upon that win over Ramazan too. Your takedown defense was on point there, and you peppered him with leg kicks. Was that the game plan going into this fight?
Yeah, so I mean, I pretty much go into every fight the exact same, with the same mindset, the same game plan, in a way where I'm gonna be on my feet, I'm gonna get the jab going, and these low kicks have been really working for me. And so I'm gonna stick with that for a while, trying to line up my right hand. And then if they stop that first line of my offense, then I'll start switching stuff up. But if you're not going to stop the first line of offense, why would I start switching stuff up? So I just stick to the same thing. And I felt like I won all 3 rounds. A couple of judges gave it 29-28, and one judge gave it 30-27. But tough, gritty fighter, those guys that you see his leg was like this big, and the guy didn't seem like he was wasn't limping, wasn't doing nothing. I was like, I don't know why this guy's leg's not shutting down. So that was a big fight. I really thought, I anticipated after that I was going to get a lot bigger fight, a bigger opponent than David Zawada. But like I said, I can only control what I can control, and believe me, if anyone thinks that I'm trying to pick fights, if I'm trying to pick fights, I tell you, I'd be fighting everyone in the top 5 right now. So it'd be, I wish I was picking my fights, but I'm not. So I can only take the fights that I'm given.
Now, historically speaking, I haven't seen you do a whole lot of trash talk. Before this fight in Russia, you were pacing back and forth like a caged animal, ready to freak out, and you were talking trash to your opponent. Was that something that was more or less that coming out from what was going on in your personal life, or did you not like him and you just
No, no,
felt
no.
the need to talk a little trash?
No, I talk trash like 24/7. So people don't realize that all Tony does is talk trash. You know what I mean? So like no one's really got to know because I haven't really had that big spotlight or that big coming out party, we'll say, or so I think that I've taken fights maybe a little too seriously and everything's just like business and stuff like that. And I think I've finally have come to that realization that just be yourself, man. Just be yourself. And really, I was trying to use it as a tactic to get him out of balance. I knew he was in his hometown, and the whole week I was respectful, didn't say shit, was calm, cool, like shook his hand, wasn't talking any shit. So I was like, I'm gonna start talking shit during the fight. The plan was to talk shit during the fight, but then I don't know what happened. I got amped up. The crowd got me amped up. So I was like calling him a pussy, a bitch beforehand. And I swear to God, his facial reaction, he was just like this. He was just like, thumbs up. I was like, giving me a little smirk. And I was like, oh, this guy's a serial killer. You know what I mean? This guy's a serial killer. And then so I was like, dude, he don't give a fuck. So I was like, all right. But I just stuck to. I didn't give a shit either because I didn't really care. Because I'm like, listen, what's the shit talk gonna do? Get him more amped up? Are you gonna try to hurt me more? No, we're in a fight. So he can do whatever the hell he wants. But I just try to get him amped up. It didn't work.
Well, either way, you got the win, and it was a very convincing win, especially going into his hometown there in Russia. Did you ever feel like there was a chance, maybe going to a decision, that the judges could have screwed you there?
Man, I was a little bit worried. I'll tell you why. It's because that Australia, man, I'm telling you right now, are rigged. They're sketchy. Um, so there was a couple. It was what was it? 2 or 3 weeks before that. Diego fought out there, and I fought out there too when I fought Jake Matthews. And Jake Matthews, he won the first round. I slipped once, and I was just messing around. But then I felt like I dominated the second round. Like I mean, I landed like 2-1. He wasn't landing any shots, and I thought easily that round was mine. So then obviously I finished the fight though in the third, put him to sleep, and then they showed me the scorecards. They showed the scorecards, and they gave him both rounds. So then versus Diego fought another Australian, and I felt like he won all 3 rounds. I thought maybe if you're extremely biased that you give the other guy 1 round. And it was a split decision. And I was like, oh my goodness. So obviously you're thinking you're going to Russia. But from what I heard, I think that it wasn't Russian judges. I think the UFC had their own judges out there. So you obviously, but you never know with the fan noise and all that. Everyone was booing me, everyone was, they even think about that a punch is landing. Then my nose is bleeding a little bit. So you really never know most in this sport because you obviously in my head I'm like shit I'm up 3 rounds. But I just stick to the game plan, man. I keep going. I can fight that way for like 25 rounds. I think that was like just the same pace fight where I was also trying to get the pace up a little bit, but it's hard when his jab was landing a little bit better than I thought it was. He actually, I think I saw him the after watching the fight, they showed the play-by-play or whatever it is, and they had like a 76 inch reach or something like that. That's pretty long for a guy that's 5'10" or something.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, either way, you got the job done. You clearly won the fight. I just asked that question because you just never know nowadays with the judges what they're looking at. It's subjective when they're going in and judging a fight. I mean, I've talked to so many fighters in the past, and it's frustrating when it goes to the scorecard because you feel like you did enough, and then sometimes they're looking at something completely different, and not judging the fight kind of like at a baseline where everyone does. So it's interesting. I do want to ask you too. You were very adamant about the Colby Covington Kamaru Usman fight. I believe you were making a lot of bets in Vegas.
Oh, don't talk. Let's not talk about this.
Well, I got to ask because that was such a close fight. How did you score it? How did you have it right into that 5th round? And do you think a second fight would lean towards Colby if that does happen?
I don't know, man. That was the worst game plan I've ever seen. I think I ain't gonna lie to no one. I ain't gonna sugarcoat shit. Why Colby isn't wrestling? How is Usman gonna get tired when he's only got to move forward the whole fight? Even if Colby was landing or winning, right? Colby has to jump in and then jump out. So I was like, No, like Colby's gas tank is going forward and making you work, and you got a guy like Usman where, I mean, I thought Colby was winning going in the fifth. I did think he was up 3-1, but you never know. Obviously, like you said, you just never know. But I was also like, man, I don't know why we're talking about this, man. I lost so much money. I fucking hate Colby right now. Fuck that dude, man. I just thought it was like, I was like, nah, he's gonna win this. But I do think that they're, I think that Colby deserves. I think he needs to win a fight, though. I think that's just the way it is. I think you just go out, win one more fight, and then you get the next fight. I don't. If you think you're the best fighter in the world, just go fight real quick. It's that easy. Just go fight and then win this fight, and then you got your next title shot. Like why try to tempt fucking play with Dana and all them? You think you don't want to fuck with them because them, they're petty. Like they'll play pettiness too. Like they don't. You want to play games with them, they'll play games too. They don't give a shit. So, and you lost, even though I thought. I mean, Colby kicked him in the stomach and he called it a nut shot. That's a TKO. I don't know like what kind of sport we're in. But if you're faking like you got a nut shot and you didn't get nut shotted, and it's clear, you can see it on video, what are we talking about here? That's TKO.
Yeah.
So, no. I mean, that's a bitch move too. Fuck Usman too, man. Man, I'm telling you right now, dude. I don't think that. I think Colby's highly regretting not grappling at all. Yeah. I think so.
Did you agree with the stoppage?
I mean, it looked pretty ugly, you know what I mean? But I think he was grabbing the leg. It just depends. I mean, I think that it's a title fight, man. Just let these guys go a little bit, and let's make sure it's a real finish. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, just don't. Why bring any controversy into it? Why let any controversy? Like, it's all right. Like these guys, believe me, like there's a lot of fucking money on the line because you got pay-per-view points coming in after you win and stuff like that. Like, it's a lot of money is on the line for that. So, and it's something that these guys have dreamt and worked for their whole entire life. I don't know. He definitely took some good licks, man. He got dropped twice in a row. He was on top. So, I mean, I think that I don't know if you could really argue with the stoppage.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's looking to fight Woodley next because that fight with Leon Edwards has now been debunked. That's not going to happen. So maybe he'll get in if he can get a win over the former champion Woodley. They can make that matchup here in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's going to work out. We'll see. I mean, I think it's a good matchup for Colby, to be honest with you. I think that Woodley's two worst matchups is Usman and Colby. So I think that we'll see what happens.
Either way, the welterweight division is as good and as deep as it's been in a very long time. How much better are you right now today versus a year ago? I remember when we were talking and you were telling me that Sean Shelby was saying that, geez, the winner of the loser of one of your most recent fights, I can't remember if it was against Ryan, what was his name?
Ryan LaFleur.
LaFleur, whoever was going to lose that fight, they were going to cut from the UFC. And now, fast forward over a year, look where you're at now. How much better are you right now versus then? Or is it just that you've been given more of an opportunity to go and showcase what you can do?
Well, I think that mentally I'm in a great spot. You know, and the weight class change has been huge. And really this whole camp I've been working about trying to get a little bigger. I've never really even I think the highest I've ever gotten in the cage at 170 is 180. I've never walked around more than like 82, 83. So I've been trying to bulk up, dude. Look at this here. You guys fucking kidding me? I swear to God, I don't know what's going on, but I started working with Clinton shit. Okay, you think I'm fucking around?
No, I don't. I believe you. I'm with you, man.
I have never weighed over 182 in fight camp. This is not a joke. I swear to God. You guys think I'm kidding?
Oh, yeah. Crystal clear.
I've never weighed over 182. Can you see it?
Oh, wow. Wow. 194.
194 right now. I'm going to actually have to start dieting. For the first time ever at 170, I'm about to start dieting. And I feel like I'm not lean, but I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't fat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Whatever the fucking UFC PI got me on, I'll tell you right now, I'm a real 70-pounder now. So I think that these guys are in a lot of trouble. So I'm jacked up. USADA better start showing up more often. I'll tell you that
much. Well, don't ask for that. That's just be a hassle on your part. You don't want them knocking on your RV door at 4 a.m.
No, like the UFC sent me like some of these supplements that are all approved through USADA and stuff. But USADA showed up like a couple of days ago, and I'm like, geez, man, I don't know. I've never weighed this much, like lean as I've been rolling around that and feeling as good as I am. So I'm like all like paranoid, like shit. I don't know, man. What if these supplements aren't right? You know, because I've never even done supplements since football, which has been 10 years now. So I don't know, man. I feel good. I feel great. I'm ready. You know, David Zawada is in for. I mean, I don't know. He's delusional. This guy's. I saw him. I watched one of his podcasts he did, and he was trying to tell people that he could beat me everywhere, and I'm just like, this guy's crazy, man. I did try to hype yourself up, but.
Do you notice a difference training with your teammates just in your strength now that you're bigger?
Well, the big thing is first you got to get, because you are a little bit, I feel a little slower, right? Like I'm not as like quick, right? But I notice like when you grapple or like when you grab them, that it takes weight to move weight. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things that you could start to feel that like normal things where you would run a single leg or do some kind of grappling that you would be like, or like when you clinched up, I would have to work harder. Or I'd have to do something a little different, you know what I mean? And now it's like, geez, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like the size has definitely been a factor. And I think that, you know, I mean, I'm hoping to get in the cage about 85 this time. I don't want to be 194 in the cage. You know, I'm thinking like 85, 86, get in there. And I think that's a perfect size, you know, because I'll lean up too once now. I'm about 6 weeks out, so I'll start doing a lot more cardio now and try to lean my body up a little bit. But I think I'm going to look good, man. I think I'm going to look good. I think I'm going to be a little bit bigger. I think my speed will stay there once I lean up a little bit here. And I think that will be the first time I'm actually a real 70-pounder in there.
So you don't anticipate having any issues with the weight cut now that you're significantly bigger than you were?
No, man. When I was telling people that I was eating McDonald's like the week of the fight, I was dead serious. I wasn't joking. You know what I mean? So like, obviously, you know, now I'm trying to eat like a professional because I have the UFC. You know, Clinton, all them are sending me those trifecta meals and all that stuff. So I've been eating all those, trying to stay healthier than just eating out every single time. But I don't know, man. The weight keeps going up. I feel great. I'm 6 weeks out, and you know, now I'm just getting ready for David Zawada on April 25th.
You guys have the exact same record. It's identical. Where do you feel like you're going to have the biggest advantage in this fight? I mean, you said
I've
earlier
had 15 UFC fights. This guy's had 3 UFC. He's 1 and 2 in the UFC. I've had 15. This gave me my 15th UFC fight. So our records might look the same, but they're not the same. You know what I mean? Like, I've been in the UFC for 6 years now. You know what I mean? And I'm just getting started. I'm just getting warmed up. That's the crazy part. I just turned 30 years old. You know what I mean? I'm fucking 10 pounds heavier than I've ever been, but looking way sexier than I've ever been. You know what I mean? So I'm saying, like, I'm just getting started. You know what I mean? I'm out here in Atlanta training with Douglas. Douglas Lima's one, you know, Diego Lima. But, you know, like the Douglas, I think Douglas right now at this moment is probably the best 70-pounder in the world. So it's like at that thing of like every day I'm training with this guy and we're having like crazy rounds with each other, you know, like we're pushing each other to get better in every single area. And it's just a tight knit group out here, you know, with Jakau out here leading us. And it's just like, it's not this huge 500 fighters where we have, you know, 10 fighters in the gym where Jakau could really narrow in on exactly what we want to do. You get ready for an opponent and you narrow in exactly what you want to do. I think it's my time, man. I think this is my last fight of my contract. You know, this is a big fight.
Yeah, no doubt. This is definitely a huge fight, especially since you're streaking now in the welterweight division, winning a number of fights in a row here. What ultimately do you think? How do you think you're going to get your hand raised? Do you anticipate this to be a tough fight, or do you think you're going to run through this kid?
So here's the thing about David Zawada. Okay, he can't beat me anywhere. Okay, so like when he says like he could beat me anywhere, he's highly delusional. But the one skill set he has, right, that can't be taught is he has no quit in him at all. Okay, so he's never gonna quit. All right, so it's one of those things where it's like some of the worst fighters to fight are those guys that just won't quit because it's like you could beat the shit out of them, you could get them, you could be mounted on them and absolutely killing them, and they're fucking bucking wild, doing crazy shit. All of a sudden, they're creating crazy fights. and they're just hard to catch because they never quit on anything. Like, they can know that they're caught, but they don't think they're caught. You know what I mean? So it's like one of the toughest. That's it, though. That's his only attribute, is that he is tough as nails, man. He's going to be aggressive as hell because he's an aggressive fighter. He comes out swinging, but he's got openings for that I've never. He says he's a striker, but I'm seeing him get pieced up by Khabib's cousin that's a grappler. So I'm like, I don't know. Like, okay, like you can say you're a striker, a high-level striker, but you're running into punches all the time. His grappling's mediocre. But his heart is huge. So that's a huge part of fighting, is your heart, man. But I'm telling you right now, he's not running into just one of the best technical fighters out there. I got a huge heart as well. So I think that there's no way I'm going to win this fight any way I want. First round, though.
First round.
I'm going to finish this fight the first round, yeah.
Do you think that there's any chance, if it does go longer, that he might end up looking like Joanna did after she fought Zhang?
Oh, man. I was like, that was wild, man. I actually think that, you know, I usually feel like I'm pretty critical of women's fights just because I feel like their technique's a little bit below. But that wasn't just one of the best. That wasn't the best women's fight of all time. I think that was top 3 fights of all time. Yeah, I mean, I think I put that in the top 3 fights of all time.
Did you see her
face and everything?
You see the video that she shared
just recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the bruises and everything.
Oh God.
Yeah. Crazy, man. Man. That'd be tough to see, man. That'd be tough to anyone. Like, that was the fucking hard on her. I was gonna say the balls on her, but that was a little ridiculous. But you know what I'm saying, like, right? Like, dude, holy shit. Fucking A, man. She was taking some shots that I don't even know exactly what happened, how the head started like that, but she has no quit in her. The fucking wild fight, man. Wild fight. One of the best fights of all time, no doubt.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, and I'm excited to hear that you're predicting a first round finish for yourself up in this next fight here next month here at the end of April. One last question before I let you go, Rocco. I do have to ask, what do you think the ultimately the outcome will be when Douglas Lima faces Gegard Mousasi? Because I know that's a fight that a lot of us are looking forward to as well.
Man, I really think that Douglas puts him to sleep. I'll tell you, there's this is what I'll say. If Mousasi thinks that if Mousasi thinks that because the way that he ran over Rory, if he thinks in any way that that's a testament of how this fight will kind of play out, he won't win this fight at all. Like, he has no chance if he thinks that. So if he really goes in this fight thinking that it's going to be a similar type of fight or a similar type of or he's in such for like this delusional like outlook of the fight game, because I'm telling you right now that I'm not trying to fight Douglas right now, man. I ain't trying to fight Douglas right now. All right, I ain't trying to fight Douglas right now. I'll fight any motherfucker out there except Douglas right now.
Yeah, well,
no, I mean, but obviously Doug's my teammate, you know, so I got his back no matter what. But I truly think like that I normally try to give an honest opinion. And again, if I was in Vegas, I'm putting a lot of money on Douglas. I think that I'm putting a lot of money on Douglas.
Gotcha. I did lie. I have one more question for you. I do want to ask who you'd like next. When you look forward, I know you're not looking past your opponent right now. You're gonna stay focused and serious on him, get this win. But is there someone that you'd like to face next, or is there a couple of people that you have in mind?
Well, like I said, this is my last fight on my UFC contract, you know, so it's kind of like one of those things that I need to finish. I think that it doesn't make a lot of sense why the UFC didn't re-sign me after, you know, the Russia fight, which I assume like, okay, they're going to re-sign me, but they didn't. So I can't control that, you know, but what I control is I think they're giving me that test, you know, that test of like, hey, we need to see something out of you that we know that you're this next flight of fighters. I need to go out there and I need to finish it. If it's maybe not the first, but the second, I need to finish. You know, I think it's going to be a first round finish, but I need to finish this fight and just show that there's levels to this. I'm on another level than my opponent. And after that, man, I don't know how I could even think about taking a fight outside the top 15. I just don't think that it wouldn't be showing respect to myself, I think, if I took a fight outside the top 15. I think that let's see how this Vincent Luque and Brown fight go. I think that if Luque wins, I think that that's a good fight for me. I think that Luque is one of the another young rising star in our sport, and I think that, you know, he just lost to Wonder Boy, and so he'd be on a 1-fight win streak, and then I'd be on a 2-fight with winning, 6 of my 7 UFC fights. So I think that, or 6-1 at welterweight, So I think that would be the next fight, or anyone in the top 15 though. But I think that Luke or RDA would be a good one too. I think that he's been on like a kind of a downward thing, so he's got to give these guys that aren't in the rankings a chance, because you're not winning those fights that are in the rankings, so you have to give them outside to see if these guys deserve to be in the rankings. And I think I deserve to be in the rankings. So if you haven't, he's not on a win streak, so he should be forced to fight someone that's right on that outskirts of the rankings. And that's where I feel I'm at right now.
Yeah, well, I sure hope that you do get that shot and that you do crack the top 15 at 170 in the UFC, and ultimately you get that next contract that I know you so deservingly should have had already. But as always, I really appreciate the time, Rocco. It's always a pleasure talking to you, man. Before I let you go, if there's anyone you want to thank or any sponsors or social media you want to plug, the floor is yours.
No, man, thank you, man. Obviously for always reaching out, and obviously reaching out right after my fight and stuff like that. I appreciate that, and just hopefully everyone's staying safe in these with this craziness going on. But train hard. But I'm out. I just appreciate you mostly for keep reaching out and keep having me on the show.